Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. And for my second appearance of the morning, for those of you who were watching Kiltz earlier this morning, it's me, Mitch. And as usual, my friends, drink it if you got it. And in honor of my good friend Kiltzy, I'm drinking out of a Kiltz handmade, one of a kind coffee cup with great sentimental value. And if you look at the underside of the cup, you will see what passes for his signature scratched into the cup itself. Well. How's everybody? It's good to see you. It was good to see almost all of you. All of you this morning on Kiltz's stream. Wow. So many early risers. And I thought that I put it off almost as late as possible to make it doable for me by starting at 8:30. And yet everybody's up at 6. I don't want to make it 3 a.m. West Coast time. So 8:30 it is. 8:30. You can still be an early riser on the West Coast without actually being an insomniac. Well, let me get rid of that banner on the bottom. And what other housekeeping do I need to do? That's about it. First off, let me thank John Beatty Art, gifted 5 private community memberships. Wow. And I'm going to scroll back in the chat here, let you follow along. Look at all the chat that happened in the last couple of minutes. Well, it's going to be one of those days. And here it is. John Beatty sent 5 Old Guy gift memberships, and they were gifted to Hal 9000. Wow. I don't know where these come from sometimes. The Dojin Ra received a membership. Baddest Cat, that I've heard of. How are you? Stephanie Urban and Sigrid Toms received one. Well, welcome, guys, to the new members, and love to see you try it out. And if you like it and you feel like you want to become part of that community, you can basically sign up for it. Oh, whoa. So I got up very early this morning. It's one of those mornings I got a lot going through my head. Got my lunch this afternoon with the Seelys. Michael Jr. and Sr. celebrating his birthday at the Brazilian Steakhouse. I'm thinking about the logistics of that. I'm thinking about the fact that we're going to have Kelsey and Nelson and a bunch of you at the meetup tomorrow afternoon. I was thinking about the logistics of that. Kiltz offered a ride in his jet. And the old pilot in me got excited about that. And some trepidation as well. Not any fear of the actual flying, not the not anything except the same kind of relationship that a carb addict has with a jelly donut. Flying was so much a part of my life, almost all of my life, up until about 10 years ago, when I couldn't afford it anymore. But I always had airplanes. I always flew. I loved flying. I was happier in the air than on the ground. I was like a bird. I have thousands of hours of pilot time in everything from ultralights to corporate jets. The corporate jet experience I have was only rare, but I have flown them. And I've flown a plane very similar to what Kiltz has, a Cessna Citation, but the one I flew was one of the early ones, nothing like the latest generation. Didn't have all these new avionics in it. And what I'm afraid of is that if I get a taste of it again, I can't do it on my own. But that's my thoughts. I'm sure I would absolutely enjoy it, and we'll probably, if I haven't really used up all my energy for the day, and I'm basically too tired after all the activity, I would love to do it. If not now, certainly sometime in the future when I've recovered more from this stroke. But the offer is fabulous, and I can't wait to see those guys tomorrow. I consider them such good friends, and both of them, some of the kindest human beings you'd ever want to meet, and that's what's really important. So I enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to lunch this afternoon. Probably snap a few pictures, but I will take some cameras to the meetup tomorrow afternoon, hopefully to make a nice video about the occasion and put it out there. I watched Thomas's video from the Boston meetup. Well done, nice job. That was a fantastic event, and that was similar to the meetup that I attended in February here, which was a joint meetup between Curryman, Olmsted Howe, Healing Humanity, and Kiltz Health. But we've come a long way since then. Hell certainly has happened to me since then. Today, I want to say happy birthday to my mother. Get it out there, propagating in the universe. Happy birthday, Mom. My mother died in 1984 at the age of 66 from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Early on, before they finally figured out how to really control that and get it into remission. And it was a horrible thing. Today would have been, or is, her 107th birthday. And it is conceivable that had we known everything we know now, that we know, not the world, but we know about nutrition and food and the effects of drugs and prescriptions, my mother could have been alive today. I never stopped thinking about that. Could have been alive today. My father, on the other hand, this year would have celebrated his 124th birthday. So, as far as he's concerned, I think not so much. But 40 years of life, the bad advice, the overuse of prescription drugs, tranquilizers, sleeping pills, all the other stuff. They throw that stuff around like there was no chance any of it could hurt you, I believe. And her sugar addiction. My mother was severely addicted to sweets. I think that's where I got it from. We always had them around the house when I was a kid. They were just a part of life. And I think all of that stuff may have taken 30 or 40 years off of her life and added a tremendous amount of suffering. So, Mom, happy birthday if you can hear this. And many more. Well, let me see if I have anything I wanted to talk about. What did I want to talk about this morning? I made some notes here. No, that was about it. The meetup is tomorrow. We still have plenty of room. It's a big restaurant. Anybody who wants to show up can just show up. You can find the information about it. Kiltz has got a compilation of all the upcoming meetups, and I didn't see a need to duplicate it. You go to Kiltz Meetups, KILTZmeetups.com, and every meetup that they're being involved in is on there, and they're always involved in mine, so mine are on there, and you can get all the details and links to the restaurant. But it is in Melbourne, Florida, in case anybody hasn't RSVP'd yet. And just show up. Just show up. No cost. Just the food between you and the restaurant. But and I'm sure we'll have a great time. Look forward to seeing all of you there. Let me take a second here and untangle my wire. There we go. I still have wired headphones. Imagine that. Oh, my microphone is drooping. Oh, I hate it when that happens. There we go. Okay. Now, let me get to the top of the chat here. See who showed up. Mike Sealy, speaking of the devil, 8:34 last night. Greetings from Kissimmee, and it is pronounced Kissimmee, Florida. You can always tell someone who is not a native, they say Kissimmee. It is Kissimmee. It's an old Indian name. Kissimmee, Florida. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. Mary M. Says hello. Tuka, welcome to Mitch's Dating and Carnivore live stream. Well, if the dating is up to you guys. I won't discourage it, though. Decaf. Been off caffeine now for quite a while, and I'm doing great. And I'm happy with the arrangement. The decaf satisfies the habit part of coffee and not the chemical addiction part of coffee. And I'm fine with that. Wayne Herman, 10:20 p.m. Good day, Mitch, and all of your friends from Lake Gaston, North Carolina. How you doing? And Furrow Grandma Wendy was here last night. Late last night, Lady June was here in the middle of the night as usual. Sue, Smokey Bear Lover, around midnight. Hello from the past. I'll probably be sleeping when this airs. Jem is here from the West Coast. Hi, Jem. How are you doing? That was yesterday at 2:25 a.m. Still 11:25 out there. And without further ado, the first quacks of the morning. Rick, also a guest on Kiltz this morning. And Thomas, also a guest. All the gang was all there. Slept in this morning. Wow, that's late for you. Bill Cook this morning and Mike Silly Sr. this morning. Thomas is here. Rick again, and retired Rick, how are you? Good morning, Mitch Fitz. Francine Bourgeois checked in at 8:04. Good morning, Mitch, and all from Montreal. To my fellow citizens, happy Canada Day. Well, happy Canada Day. Smoothie 420. Good morning, Mitch and the crew. Tammy is here. Tammy Petarch. Good morning. Yo, Mitch Fitz. Rick says, nice to see you again. Yes, Rick. Nice to see you again. Chris Swain from Down Under is here. And let's see. We're getting there. Tanya. 824 Kitchen Witch. How you doing, Tanya? Good to see you. And Larry Ryan was here this morning. Good morning, Mitch. Great to see you on KMT Morning Live today. Thank you. It was great to be seen. Great to be seen. And Rick reminds us that it's 3 more days to the fireworks. Oh, joy. Oh, joy. All the lunatics will be keeping me up half the night and creating psychotic dogs who are scared or hiding under the bed because of all the noise. It's a great holiday. I wonder how many people actually realize why they're celebrating it, or it's just an excuse to drink beer, have a barbecue, and make a lot of noise and disrupt everybody. We'll see. We'll see. Peter chimed in. Good morning, Mitch Fitz. And here's where John B. bought the 5 memberships. Thank you, John. And everybody's talking to each other already. He says, did you not get one, Rick? I still don't know how they pick them. I don't know how they pick them. I always thought the people had to be here, but I don't think most of those people that got picked, they may just have been, I have no idea. Maybe they had to have clicked on it in the last year or something. They certainly don't just give away to strangers, because I'm sure they're all somehow related to our community, carnivore or keto. Lori's begging me, don't start yet. Well, coffee's not made. Hopefully by now you got it and you're enjoying it. What is this? JKLKYNG. I won't even begin to try to pronounce it. Good morning, Mitch. I'm sharing your recovery videos with my friend whose father is recovering from his stroke, hoping he will get in carnivore. Hope so. It ain't easy. I'll tell you, I don't think I'd want to make my living as a working for commission only carnivore recruiter. I've tried. I've failed every time, unless people find it somehow, have an interest. The sad part is most of them won't succeed on it either. So much misinformation. So many people scaring them to death, especially their doctors. Don't get me started on that this morning. I want to be happy this morning. Tanya, hurry up, Lori. Yeah. John Beatty says, I had to unsubscribe because I never get to the Thursday private chat, so I figured I would spread some new blood. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Very generous of you. And Peter was here at 9:28, and Claudia was here at 9:28, and we're sneaking up on a John Beatty, Booby at 9, Aaron at 9:29. Baddest cat. There you go. Thanking John Beatty for the membership. One of them is actually here. Cool. And Barry Simon, good morning, my friend. How are you? 8:29. Loretta Nay Dow was here at 8:29. Sandy Blythe. Don't you just get tired of this? Don't you just get tired of this? And the winner is Gary. Once again, no slow. I didn't know any better, I would think the fix was in, but it wasn't. Congratulations, Gary. You must have it down to a science split-second timing. And he says, I like long walks on the beach, keeping with the dating motif. Oh, my God. And then Chris Swain comes back in from Oz, that's Australia, at 8:30. Retired Rick, the Peach Baron. Beatitudes, good morning. John Beatty again. Charger Mobar again. Brian Disher. Oh, he's new. Good morning, Brian. Lady June, how you doing? Good morning. Thomas at 8:30. Michael Prigler at 8:30. Brenda McIntyre at 8:30. And Steve Rogers, Captain America at 8:30. And Lambs, from what I understand, the man who gives, or woman, who conceived the term Mitch Fitz. Wow. That's a very important part of history. And Peter was back a couple times at 8:30, and Rick was back at 8:30, and Roxanne Friend was still at 8:30. No wonder I can't get through this chat. I'm 20 minutes behind already. I can't get past 8:30. Retired Rick. Good morning, Sammy Shuford. Sandy Blythe again. And the first at 8:31 is Thomas himself, Target Prime Rib. Okay, let's break it off there for a second. Let me do my... That's the one. Yes. Throw my coffee link up there in case any of you have an urge to buy me a coffee. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. And in fact, I'm going to be so rambunctious as to replace the pinned message with that message at the top of the chat, so it's always there. Thanks for putting up with that. We won't mention it again. I do want to mention that Amazon Prime Days are coming up, and they do have some amazing deals. So I hope you'll put up with a little commercialism. I'm doing it maybe to make a few bucks, but also there are some deals that if nobody tells you about them that apply to us, you never find out. And last year, everybody was so thankful for me letting them know about all those deals that everybody was a winner from that little deal. So you're going to see that starting later this week, I think. I'm still not allowed to tell you the exact dates. You know, they make a big deal out of this. Send in the information, and it's confidential, not to be shared. Okay. Far be it from me to break your rules. QQQ in the chat if you want to ask me a question about anything or point out a topic of interest that you think you'd like to bring me into the conversation, and I'd be happy to. I wish I could. You know how much what a struggle it is to go through this chat and try to get to the end of it every day, while at the same time still encouraging people to just chat profusely. It's like create your own obstacle course. But I don't have a lot to talk about until it comes up. Then once it comes up, Tammy Vitard says, Mitch, I shopped on your Amazon link last night. Jackie W. Realtor in Indiana said, Mitch, you got any area rugs or bathroom faucets on your store? So far, my product list at Lowe's that I need for just one bathroom is $3,000. Well, Jackie, funny you should say that. my store, I don't have a store. I have a Amazon affiliate link. So in reality, my store is virtually every product sold by Amazon in the United States of America, because my affiliate account is only with the American Amazon. But if you live in America, which I'm sure you do, and you want to buy anything from Amazon, and yet you want to help support the channel, me, because I am, after all, the channel. I love that people say support the channel. No, you're supporting me. The channel and me are one and the same. You can just go to any one of my links, whether you want to buy it or not. You can go into my page, click on a link or something you want to say look at. Or you don't even have to want to look at it. But once you get into that link and Amazon opens up in your browser, and you got there through one of my links, as long as you don't close that browser window, but instead go up into the search at the top and type in bathroom faucet, and then buy that bathroom faucet that you decided on, they pay me a small commission. Granted, it's not a lot, but it's the volume that makes it worthwhile. If my viewers would just do that once in a while, that would be all I would need. But most don't. Even my children forget to do it. So I can't expect strangers to do it. But yeah, they'll pay for everything. I have gotten paid for some of the wildest things. I look sometimes at the report to see what I'm getting paid for. And some of the wild, anything from cell phones to underwear shows up. I don't normally look at it. I don't know who bought it. I'm not privy to that. I'm privy to the fact that someone used my link and then went on and bought something while they were there. So yeah, you can do that if you'd like, and I definitely appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. So thank you. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. Looking at what are you guys talking about? George Rick says, I never use Amazon. But why does that surprise me, Rick? That's great. I was talking about how they eating more rare. Everybody's eating more rare. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like them quite bloody. I like them rare to medium rare. I don't like the cold center. Question, Thomas says, look at your email. I didn't hear it go ding, but I do have an email. Oh, I got some coffees too. Wow. Wow. Jeff Johnson bought me 3 coffees. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Jeff Johnson, the name you know, says, I continue to feel strong on Carnivore. Thanks for your encouragement, Mitch. I use your Amazon links for sure. Jeff, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's the only email I see, Thomas. Oh, I see some more. Yeah, here we go. I don't know why I didn't get the email associated with that, but Steve Rogers, Captain America, bought me a coffee. And Jeff Johnson, and oh yes, here it is. Thomas, Target Prime Rib, bought me a coffee. Thank you so much, Thomas. Celebrating my 6 months. It's a 6 months anniversary, Carniversary, today with you and Kiltz. And it'll be interesting to see if my invented word yesterday, strokeversary, catches on and I see other people starting to use it. I wanted to, speaking of that, every once in a while I read it, I get a comment, and I make a screenshot of it on my cell phone because I think it's something I might want to bring up on my live stream. And I got one. Screenshots. Got one here. I'll read it to you. It was on my video that said, should carnivore be the recommended diet for a stroke? And that was just kind of a thought that popped into my head. But the more I think about it, and the more I learn about it, and the more I hear from so many who knew so many stroke victims have left comments. And if you read the comments on some of those videos, I don't expect you to go through and read them all. I do. You'd be amazed how many people claim, and I'm fairly sure, that the carnivore lifestyle was responsible for a great recovery for them. There are some people who said that they went a long time and then went carnivore and then started to recover. It makes sense to me. So I'm almost certain enough to be able to say that the medical community would be doing stroke patients a favor by recommending any diet that's high in fat and taking the people who've had strokes immediately off statins, which may be more important. I know that the medical community would burn me at the stake for saying that, call me a witch. You need that fat and cholesterol for your brain to heal. Without the cholesterol, you're screwed. Why would you be taking a statin? And if you're so sold on the fact that you need a statin, why wouldn't you at least take the time off to recover from your stroke before you start artificially trying to deprive your brain of the cholesterol that it needs to heal itself? Why would you do that? If anybody actually thought about what was happening, and why would you ever want to be on a low or zero fat diet when you need more fat than ever? And you should probably be on an 80% fat diet while you're healing from a stroke. It's a double whammy that they're doing to stroke patients. It's a miracle to heal at all. So I'm beginning to think I'm on to something with this. Carnivore is the best, absolutely the best. But of course, the detractors will say, show me the studies. Where in the world are you going to get people to study something like that? Where are you going to get enough stroke patients? Where are you going to get the money? Whose financial interest is it to fund any study like that? And who's got the time to sit down and wait 10, 20 years until you get some maybe meaningful results if you somehow happen to construct a study with no confounders in it or conflicts? So the demand for studies, I find ironic, coming from the mouths of people who have no studies that are legitimate to back up all their claims about low-fat, high-carb diets. Hypocrisy. Nobody thinks about it because you don't hear about it anywhere, except from a few of us in this community that have. Kitchen witch. Oh, Tanya says, Mitch said witch. I did. In a good and flattering way, however. Rick says he loved kiltz and his inclusive attitude this morning. Yeah. So I got this thing. Let me not forget why I went down this little rabbit hole talking about it. That I got from one of my viewers, and it said, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was just a few weeks ago that detractors were saying, now, you know who the detractors are. All the vegan doctors on YouTube, all the vegan channels were saying, and it has quotes here, so he's quoting a headline or a video title. Prominent YouTube carnivore influencer suffers catastrophic stroke. Let me say that again. I think that may be the highest flattery I've ever received. I evidently am a prominent YouTube carnivore influencer. Who knew? Who knew? Suffers catastrophic stroke. And then he said, they are conspicuously silent now. Boy, that comment made my day, if you can imagine. And I answered him. I said, I'm flattered that they called me prominent, LOL. You have no idea the pleasure that your post has brought me. Thank you. And I got a typo in there. It says, thank you, good morning. This out. What I said to the stupid voice typing was, thank you for pointing this out. I thought that was great, and I wanted to share that with you. So, more respect, guys. You didn't know it, but you're dealing with a prominent carnivore YouTube influencer here. Who knew? So I think I'm going to try to do a search and see if I can find that somewhere on YouTube in the title somewhere. I'm sure I probably could. I didn't think of it the other day, but I'll have to find the video because I'd love to see what they were. Although I'll probably have smoke coming out of my ears just trying to watch that propaganda, but I'm curious about what they said and if they used me by name. But I still will not make a reaction video to it. I'll leave that to Bart K and those guys. Those reaction videos changed no minds. No minds. Zero. Not a single vegan is going to become carnivore when he regularly watches the vegan channels and vegan doctors. Sorry. People that watch in our community that watch carnivore cannot be swayed by that propaganda. So why waste the time and energy other than just getting clicks? That's all it's about. These reaction videos are just about getting clicks. I don't want to get clicks that way. But I'd be curious to see who it was. I'll be interested to see who it was. Sandy Blass, I won a kiltz cup. I treasure it. He signed it. Yes, people don't believe, but he's got a ceramic studio, and that's his escape. Everybody needs an escape. My escape used to be building model airplanes, model aviation. I'd go disappear into the workshop and lose myself in it. It's great therapy, especially if you have a busy life and a lot on your mind. You start focusing and concentrating on what you're doing, and the stress goes away. I have 2 of his cups. He gave me the first cup in Orlando, and it's been 2 years already. Hard to believe. 2 years. And another thing it's hard to believe, in 30 days, I'll be celebrating my 3-year carniversary. Wow. I can't believe it. Time has gone by. When I started to become a carnivore YouTube channel was about this time 2 years ago, after a year on carnivore. I was a carnivore for a year, decided to take my drone channel, make it into a carnivore YouTube channel because there's a lot more to talk about, and drones were getting to be too much of a hassle with all the laws and regulations and rules and anti-drone propaganda and, people shooting drones out of the sky. It became becoming mayhem. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I decided Have you ever heard the expression from the frying pan into the fire? I left the drone community for a much, what I thought was less controversial, and just made an enemy out of 98% of the people in this world or more, because how dare I recommend meat? And it was, but at least I know by the community that I have here and I'm a part of, that we are doing some real good with this. And that's something, flying drones was fun, but it didn't really benefit humanity in any way or set people on a path to stop poisoning and killing themselves, which I think is a very worthwhile goal. Very worthwhile goal. Peter and Rick are talking to each other. Jill King, I guess that's how I pronounce it. Kiltz is too early for me. Love Mitch at 8:30. Wow. I am already way up to 8:32 in the chat. God, I gotta go. But I'm gonna go. Gonna do as much as we can. Probably can't, well, I can go some overtime today, but not, I gotta be careful. And remember, I gotta get ready and leave for lunch with the Sealy boys. Marla Kelly's here. How you doing, Marla? Well, you're here. You read the chat. You don't need me to read it all to you. Thomas, Rick, and Peter are certainly having a good time. Ah, that was so nice of you, Laurie. Thank you. Happy birthday to the woman who made it possible for us to meet this great man going. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you so much. Very sweet of you. Well, Clark wants to know where I am. I didn't fall back asleep. I'm right here. At 8:40, I was here. Did I disappear? I don't think so. But he says her father's a pilot, a career in non-com, and crazy smart. Well, I tell you, you got to have some brains to be a pilot. There's an awful lot to keep up with, especially these days. Uh, Gary says, I'm also drastically cut down on caffeine, one shot of espresso every couple of days. In my decaf, only one cup a day, about every other day. It's not bad. Good. Good. I never thought, I mean, I didn't have any problem. I didn't have any problem ever, because I never really drank. And let's say when I was drinking a big pot of coffee a day, yeah, when I gave it up, I did go through that headache withdrawal thing. But I never drank more than a cup or two of caffeinated coffee for many, many years. And when I stopped drinking the caffeine part of it, I felt I could feel a little difference in the kick you get from caffeine when it wore off, but never really suffered the headaches and all that stuff. Oh, that's a cute name. Somebody just in the current chat, Elvis Presley fan on keto diet. Said, how you feeling today, my friend? I'm feeling good today. Feeling good today. Our retired Rick, number 3 in our heart, says, bye, everyone. Got to go. And then talking about how I know how to take a compliment. Well, I take a compliment humbly. I don't expect it. But I take them seriously and appreciate everyone. Always have. People sometimes mistake me for having, because I think I'm smart and I think I know a lot. They equate that with having a big ego and being full of yourself. That's the last thing I am. So I'm glad some people notice it. But some people, no matter what you say or how you act, you're going to form their own opinion, and that's all of our prerogatives. Mama Bear says, my 16 and 17-year-old dogs are now deaf, so fireworks are no longer a problem. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have, my kids have dogs. And if I anytime, if I happen to be over with them on like the 4th of July or my son used to have the party, I had all the neighbors over and friends of his, and they used to shoot fireworks off in the backyard. The dogs went nuts. Went nuts. We just got to put up with that, I guess. I can always count on my friend Wang Ling for a question or two. And I am getting some emails. From Jeffrey Dye, bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. He says, enjoy your videos. Thank you, Jeffrey. Very kind of you, my friend. Huang said, Mitch, why do you think people get so emotional and argue about diet so much? It's like politics and religion. Why is the food you eat such a hot button? It's not so much the food. Not so much the food. It's the things they associate with the food. And the people who are proponent or opponents to what is our correct diet constantly try to tie the eating of the food with some other issue that will make the eater of the food seem like a selfish, non-caring bastard. For example, why, when I eat a steak, do I have to have some member of PETA throw blood all over me and call me an animal murderer? Because that supports their cause. Where did the term animal rights even come from? Where is it written? Do you suppose cavemen were aware of animal rights or even human rights or the concept of rights and entitlement? We invented that. That's not natural. Do you think fish in the sea yell fish rights when a bigger fish comes along to eat them? This is the law of the jungle prevails. We've tried to what we call civilize it. I don't know if we've actually helped or not. But you attach the eating of meat to things like climate change. Cows are farting, burping, and it's heating up the planet, and it's going to kill us all. You bastard, you. How can you eat that meat and support the farming of cows when you obviously don't care about the future of the world because your actions are supporting Armageddon. That's why, one of the reasons why. Second reason why is because don't you think that the moneyed and corrupt interests who are demonizing meat and supporting the plant-based thing don't know that meat really will make people healthier, cure addictions, and hence no more need for their products or medical community services or that many drugs? They don't want you healthy. They don't want you healthy, so they will demonize anything that makes you healthy. You want me to go on? I could sit here all day and tell you why they don't want you to eat meat. And it's all about human greed and corruption and a bunch of hippies, I call them hippies, but you know the mentality, liberals that need, entitled liberals nonetheless, that need to feel like they are holier than you are and invent all of these causes, most of which are based on bad science, so they can be in your face about it. I hope that answers that question. That is an interesting question. The one thing missing is the people who oppose the eating meat under the guise that they care so much, don't give a shit about you, me, or anybody else. You can believe that. But then most holier than thou people want you to believe how much they care. Very philosophical topics. It's hard to try to pick out when you fly by the personal conversations going between you and a topic that's really for everybody. Still talking about coffee. I won't even tell you how far behind I am because it doesn't help. There you go. Huang says the inventor of Carnivore coffee would make millions. No, he wouldn't. You'd like to think that. Because the carnivores, they're called true carnivores, aren't telling you to drink coffee. They're telling you not to. So I think it would be a bad business idea to start a carnivore coffee company. Lori takes credit for conceiving the idea of live morning coffee chats. Okay, who am I to argue? I love them. It's a good idea, I think. I've always liked doing live streams a whole lot better than I enjoy actually making videos. That's, in a lot of ways, drudgery, the editing, the filming, coming up with an idea. I'd rather be spontaneous and get on here and just talk. Problem is, you can't make any money doing live streams unless the fans support you or you have a big sponsor. Don't want to do that. Get offers every day. But you got to get views to get paid on YouTube, and live streams, by virtue of the fact that they are a temporary thing, they come and go, replaced by a new one the next day, don't have staying power and don't get a lot of views. My average live stream, when the time all is said and done, will get 1,000 views in a day. My advertising revenue from a YouTube video that gets 1,000 views is between $3 and $4. There's a lot of time and energy and effort for $3 or $4, which is why I appreciate the coffees and its support by using my Amazon links. I still don't demand it, but it helps. And the private community brings in a little, but ridiculously small amount of money every month. I still have to work to make ends meet. YouTube is kind of like play a little bit of discretionary money. That's about it. It certainly is not supporting me in any way. But I won't give it up because I love it. Because I love it. Michael Pregler puts creatine in his coffee. Heavy cream, butter, and 100% cocoa chocolate. Wow, Michael, why do you even need the coffee with all the other stuff? Retired Rick says, Mitch, do you know if beef tallow and baking grease need to be refrigerated? No, they don't. Neither one of them does. Depends how long you want to keep it. Most of those things, they say, last months. I think they last a lot longer than that. Of course, it doesn't hurt to refrigerate them, but you really don't. You really don't have to. You really don't have to. At least according to the conventional wisdom. Anyway. See, I found the cues. Now we're talking about fats. Here's somebody I haven't seen before. Chile. 8282, good morning from Miami, Florida. Hey, Rick. Wave at Chile. Rick Charger Mopar is also in Florida, as am I. So it's Canada Day. Is that what's the? I'm curious. What's the reason? Is it a patriotic holiday to kind of coincide with our 4th of July? Is it your equivalent? And is it always on July 1st, or does it happen to fall on a particular day of the week? You kidding? Rick says kiltz is an acquired taste, and it was Mitch who sent me to him. No regrets. Well, I know there's no regrets now, but kiltz has changed since I first started watching him. When he was doing what I do, he didn't have the big production, didn't have people like Alia Nelson. He was on YouTube. He came on at 5 in the morning, and my first impression of kiltz, he was like an evangelist, and my views on organized religion, I kind of turned me off. And then I met him 2 years ago, and as a man who I don't change my core beliefs just so somebody else would like me. This is who I am. And I said to him, because we did a live stream together from there. I looked at him and I said, Kiltzy, go easy on the religious stuff, will you? And he understood, and we started talking, and we had a very good discussion about the concept of God and what we really believed. Not what nobody else's doctrine or dogma, but what did we believe? As people who accept science, have common sense, and are smart, and don't ever think that kiltz is not a brilliant man. And he started telling me what his concept of God was. I won't get into it now, but it involves a universal connection of everything in the universe. And that's why when you hear him say God, we're all God. God He's not talking about one bearded old white man on a throne making the rules for everybody. He's talking about a connection of everything in the universe at a quantum level, and we're just beginning to discover that. And I've always believed that. And if you don't believe me, if you happen to read my book, you'll find that 23 years ago when I wrote that book, I was still talking about this stuff. This connection that we all have. And found out that if you leave the syntax out of it, if you don't use words like God and Jesus, he and I believe exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. But sometimes, in order to communicate those concepts to people, it's easier for them to accept by using the comparatives that they understand. And I do it too. So I use the words God a lot of times in my life, but to me it means something different. I think it means something different to a lot of people. So I can understand why initially a lot of people, especially people that misunderstood his religious angle, would have been turned off, or for some other reason. But once you get, you got to get to know the guy. The guy is one of the finest human beings I've ever met, and generous to a fault. And I'm very, very grateful that I met him, and that we become friends. Not the kind of friends that go over, go to a dinner party every week, but just a lot of respect for each other. At least I assume he has respect for me. He may just be shining me on. I don't know. What's the old expression? Blowing air at my skirt, but I don't think so. Nah, I know not. I know he's not. I know he's not. DS111. Thanks, man. Thanks. I like how Mitch goes into autopilot when in the Mitch information zone. I do that. I just start talking about things. I let what's on my mind come out of my mouth. Carnivore Keith, how you doing? Hello, everyone. My hands are full, but I'm listening. Well, it's a good thing you don't hear with your hands. Because that works out great. Works out great. They call that multitasking, I believe. Laurie says, it's like he's channeling. That's a great observation, Laurie. That's exactly what happens to me. That's a great way to describe it. In fact, I'm not the only one that does that. But what that illustrates to me is the validity of the concept of a connection of everything, including all living things and all living minds, and of a collective intelligence and a level of communication that it really exists, a thing we call the sixth sense, that is more prevalent than anybody gives it credit for. It's the source of most instinct, and animals have to have instincts or they can't survive. That deer needs to get that feeling of dread and fear when there is a predator close by, or he's going to be had. And that is what I wrote about in my book. That connection that explains so many of the unexplainable things that we attribute to magic, and in so many cases to God. And in reality, there's science that can explain that stuff. And I tried very hard without offending the religious people, and that is a very fine line to draw. A very hard line to walk, and very rarely is it walked successfully without making enemies who want to kill you. And that's where I'm afraid I will find myself sometimes, and I try to avoid the subject, which is why they tell you avoid politics and religion. But how in the world are we ever going to learn or understand things that people say it must be God because there's no other explanation? And I would go, whoa, time out. I think I have a theory. I think I can explain how this is possible. So they did that with all scientists and all thinkers throughout time. The best thinkers became heretics at the church and put to death because the witches in Salem. I mean, whatever it was, you start to say anything that goes against their dogma, they immediately decree you need to die, which is the problem, the main problem in the world with religion, especially the stuff that causes terrorism. And countries, whole countries, we're right in the middle of this now, saying all Americans need to die because God told us. I can't just be okay with that kind of thinking. It's a good thing I don't have a big platform like some of these, millions and millions of viewers. They would have had me assassinated long ago, when all I'm trying to talk about is reality and common sense and what's possible and what isn't. AP, thank you so much. Love from Annette. Thank you, Annette. I can use all the love I can get. Believe me, no love will be rejected in my house. Believe me, in my life. I like this. Listen, Mitch said which. Well, you remember, if you're a student of great literature, there are good witches and there are bad witches. You don't believe me? Just ask Dorothy. Here's something. What is this? Question. What's your take, Mitch, on creatine? Michael. Oh, wow. Wow, that's interesting. You know who's got some great stuff on creatine? Maybe the definitive YouTube video on creatine is Ben Bickman. And he initially made it, he divided it into God knows how many little 5-minute videos. And then he put out one that he combined all the stuff on creatine into one video, and it was about 30 minutes long. And he's, there are some people who sometimes, I never had a strong opinion about it, one or the other. I know that it's gained popularity and is touted in the exercise and muscle building community. According to Bigman, it really does that. Has a lot of benefits. I haven't heard anybody really saying it's no good for you, but you make your own. Most, these are things that you get in the food you eat, and your body can make it, or even if it can't make it, sometimes they'll tout a nutrient, but all nutrients are in the food we eat. And we've lived up until the last century or so without having to supplement any of them. Everything should be in the food you eat. So and so many of them are fabulous, and creatine is one of them. So creatine has a lot of good functions that it does, and like so many things the body makes, there is no downside. But do you need extra creatine? And that depends on whether you're working out a lot, what your goals are, how old you are. I think that's an individual thing. And I think if you're looking for answers, look up Ben Bickman, creatine on YouTube and listen to a real scientist and an authority on that. And as far as my opinion, I don't take additional creatine. I'm happy with the amount I'm getting. If we started to take every nutrient to increase the amount we're getting from our food naturally, we would have 2,000 bottles of pills to administer and take every day. And I just take the path that unless I can see a real deficiency in something, I'm not going to supplement it. That's just my opinion. Might not work for a lot of other people. Good question, though. Lori said, question, Mitch, we always knew you were prominent. It's you that still doesn't realize it. Yes, it's true. That's called humility. I have humility to a fault. But I think that's a good thing, too. I think that's a good thing. It would be nice if more people were humble. I won't even read that. I read that. Hey, we have somebody named Freckles, Maggie Malone. You doing? Yeah, that's a good Irish name if I ever heard one. Marcy Me is here. Good morning, Marcy. How are you? I'm still 30 minutes behind here. Let's see what's going on. Let's go come up to the future here. Peter, Terry, Sue, we're talking about meat and potatoes. CB Carmack is here. Hey, CB, how you doing? I'll get to where you came in, but I see somebody talking to you. CB, here it is. Back when I was into bodybuilding, I did get jacked on creatine. Haven't taken it in a while. Yeah, that's supposedly what it helps you with. But there's other things that it's supposed to help you with too. But you'll find most creatine talk is going to be found in the bodybuilder community, which, by the way, is pretty much where the sugar diet originated. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm talking religion. All right. And put you back down to the present, and I will take myself into the past, looking for questions that you may have asked. We got about 100 people here. That's about average. And I suppose when you do it every day, people just don't need to come every day. I probably wouldn't either. So get a nice mix every day. Tired fat guy is here. How you doing? Good morning, Mitch. You are doing great. Proud of you and your determination to get better and better. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. My phone is going off. Let's see what we got here. Tanya bought me a coffee. Thank you so much, Tanya. Tanya says, happy birthday, Mom. I'm sure she is proud of the man you have become and how much you mean to so many. Sorry I'm being mushy, Mitch. You be mushy anytime, Tanya. As you saw yesterday. I'm an emotional guy myself. I don't try to hide it. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm actually proud of it. I think that's just a part of being human. Rick says it's in Mitch to never give up. I guess not. I guess not. There are many times when I say, I'm just going to give up. But I just never do it. It's just something, Rick, it is in me, I guess. Good choice of words, Rick. Jeffrey Dye, hello, how you doing? Ever enjoy your video? Just sent you a coffee. Oh, it's Jeff. Jeffrey Dye, you did. Oh, thank you so much. Enjoy your videos. $5. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate that. I was getting, I heard Jeff. I remembered that Jeff Johnson and some coffees, and I was thinking it's the same Jeff, but no, I'm glad you pointed that out because I want to thank you for that. Very nice of you. Thank you. I always, sometimes during the day, get around when I can fit it into just personally replying to each of these things and saying thank you so much. To make sure that you know that I have acknowledged it. I hate these deals where you give somebody a super chat and they never acknowledge it. You never even know it. They never thank you. You never even know if they know you gave the super chat. And I don't care, what reason we all have for giving. We would love to know that whoever we're giving it to at least knows we gave it to them. I'll give you an example of why I feel that way. I was watching Bart Kay's stream the other night because of the floods they had in New Zealand. I saw all of you in there. Many of you were very generous, giving $50 and $100. He would acknowledge. So I said, well, I'll give him 20. Let me give him $20 because I want to help out. Now, I don't know if that money's going to Bart. I don't know if that money's going to, as he said, help the people. He has informed, certainly a non-profit organization, to handle the financial end of it. As far as anybody is concerned, that money is going to Bart Kay. And as for tax purposes, he'll get the 1099 or whatever their equivalent of that is in New Zealand. So I say, well, Bart Kay's going to pay taxes on this money unless he's formed a charity. I said, obviously he hasn't formed a charity because this is a flash flood that just happened. And it takes months, sometimes years, to do the paperwork to form a legitimate charity so you don't have to pay money on donations. So I don't know how much of this is going to Bart, how much is going to the people of New Zealand. I don't really care. I'm going to help. I'm going to give him $20. And I watched for a little while. And he acknowledged and thanked everybody except me. And then he came out and he said, boy, I really like the red ones. Those were the $100 donations. So I said to myself, well, Mitch, you've been had again. You've been had again. But good luck, Bart. Enjoy the $20. I got that attitude about people initially from an experience I had one day at a 7-Eleven. I had just gotten separated from my wife. I had moved out of my house. It was my first night out in the street. I was headed for an extended stay hotel from what was a mansion back in those days. I walked away from it. I couldn't stand it anymore. And I talked about my second wife. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I pulled my car into a 7-Eleven to get a cup of coffee. I was despondent. I was down, depressed. And I said, and I was driving an Infiniti Q45 at the time, which back in those days, in 2004, was still a $60,000 plus car. I mean, this was a very expensive car. I said, and I said to myself with my inevitable sense of humor, well, Mitch, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're probably the only homeless guy driving a $60,000 car. And I walked into the 7-Eleven, and immediately after that, a little girl followed me into the 7-Eleven. And she came up to me and she said, excuse me, sir, could you help me out? I mean, this is a little girl. I'm talking about, 16, 17 years old. obviously no money. And she said, my car broke down the road. Now, I should have seen this coming, but what am I going to do? My car broke down on the road, ran out of gas. I need some money to buy some gas. Could you help me out? It's easier just to give them $5 or $10 than it is to try to talk them out of it or explain to them why you're not going to give them money. I give the little girl, I gave her a $5 bill or something like that. She immediately goes to the counter at the 7-Eleven, buys cigarettes with the money I gave her, walks out of the 7-Eleven, gets in a piece of shit Camaro with her, obviously her boyfriend, and they drive off laughing at me. And I'm standing there like I had my pants down around my ankles. You know the feeling. You've just been had. How could you be so stupid? What was I thinking? How could I not known that these pieces of human excrement don't just prey on anybody that they find? I'm not in a great mood anyway. At that point, I decided I will never donate 10 cents to anybody. I don't care who they are. I got that same feeling again when I gave the super chat to Bart K the other night. I don't know if I'm right, wrong, or otherwise, but the cause better be honestly stated. Honestly stated when you expect people to be kind and lend support. And there's too much of that going on with too many GoFundMe things. So I with me and these coffees, I tell you what it is. You helping support me. That is the truth. That's where the money goes. And if you don't want to do that, I don't expect people to. But I just can't stand. I just can't stand the deception in everything in this world. I'm getting to the point where I don't believe anything I see in the media or in the news anywhere. Always an agenda, always something they're hiding from you. I don't know how I got started on that, but there it is. I better get going. I gotta get going. It's almost 5 till 10. I gotta be out of here at 10. So I'm gonna speed through the chat here, try to see if I can have any last minute questions. I hope y'all have enjoyed this stream. I'll tell you all about my lunch with the Sealy Boys tomorrow. And then tomorrow we have the meetup in the afternoon. So good old Mitch is, stroke or not, I'm going to be all over the place. That's not a question, Thomas, but he just told us he just got bison tallow. Wow. There's something you don't see everywhere. Can you imagine going into a 7-Eleven? Excuse me, if you got any bison tallow, they won't even, they want to know what bison or talon is, let alone a combination of both of them. Which have the nightmare of being attacked by government. No, sorry, Thomas. Don't have that nightmare. I don't have nightmares. I do dream. And interestingly, I'm one of those people that the minute I wake up, within seconds, that dream is gone. I don't remember anything I ever dreamed about. Even the nightmares, if I have them. I think that's a good thing. Too many people get haunted by their dreams or see them as prophecies. Just gives you something else to worry about. Kitchen with Mitch, my husband wants to know how to find the book. We looked on the website. My book. In the description of every Thursday night live stream. First thing in the description is a link so you can download it. I don't have it anywhere else, but on every private. I wanted to put it in a place where only the people who are in the private community could get to it, so that people don't it just doesn't get out there to everybody for free. I want you guys to have it for free. I can't limit whether you share it with somebody. That would be absurd. But my best shot at publishing it would be to publish it in a video that only the private community can see. That's the logic behind that. So go to any replay of any one of the Thursday night videos, and you'll see the link there. Hope that answers it. And I don't know how many people download it. I get very few comments on it. I think a lot of people say, "Wow, that's really." Mitch, I thought he was a smart guy. He's got a screw loose somewhere to write all this stuff. And then I've had people tell me that was the most brilliant thing they've ever read in their life, and these are smart people. So everybody takes things differently. I never really claimed to be an author or a great writer. It's not the writing that I'm interested in. It's the ideas I tried to get across. We're sneaking up on it now. I've been moving fast. Got to get through it. Go for those last questions. Did it. Got to the end of the chat right on time. So thank you very much, everybody. Lori Weissel, last entry in DS111. That makes sense. DS111 says, I came to the conclusion that deja vu is a dream that you did not remember until deja vu. I have a different theory on that. And I explain it in my book. And that may be where some of the things we come from, where we dream about some of the things we come from. That's where the concept of past life regression. If you've ever read accounts of, Bridie Murphy was a famous one, of people who were hypnotized and regressed back into a former lifetime. And it's been documented enough times, and people knew things they couldn't possibly know. People, some of them even spoke a foreign language that they never spoke and didn't know. Could have been an elaborate con, but the way I figure things, the way I think was, well, okay, if I've got something that appears to be proven real, which is unexplainable in any other way other than, say, reincarnation or some religious or God explanation, if it's real, it has to have a truth behind it of how it happened. And I approach everything like that. I knew the instant both my parents died. Knew it. And I was right. I knew the feeling, got the feeling. It's described as your blood runs cold. I mean, I remember it. I still remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. For both my parents. For my mother, I just got up in the morning, and I got this terrible, god-awful feeling. I walked to the door of the house, looked west. She lived over on the west coast of Florida. I was in central Florida. I looked west towards where they lived and felt this is god-awful emptiness, and found out very shortly thereafter my mom had passed. When my father passed, I was in my office in my computer company, and my phone rang, and I got that same feeling. And I picked up the phone, and it was the nursing home where my father was. Mr. Weiss, yeah, your father just passed. I said, I knew it, and I did know it. So I start with those two events, experiences I had that were real. Nobody can tell me they weren't real. I didn't have somebody else tell me this is what happened to them. I experienced it firsthand. So I said, okay, it happened. I know it happened. How could it have happened? What happened? And that's when I discovered this incredible connection that had to be there among all living things. And I kept finding new reasons and examples of it, including the reason we feel such grief when we lose somebody that's close to us, because we're constantly connected to those people. And when they die, that connection is severed. And that loss of a connection that's comforted you all your life, when it instantly turns off, is what we feel as grief. The loss of that is monumental. So I've been thinking like this ever since I was, 12. So I wrote it all down in this book, which is highly misunderstood. And most people think these kind of concepts and thoughts are just completely wacko. But to me, they explain everything. Led to my fascination with biology, biochemistry, living things, and all that, which eventually led to me sitting here talking about carnivore and ducks. The question is, do we know how Boyd passed? No, I haven't heard yet. I did a cursory search on Google and basically just found the same thing that CB did. If anybody else does or hears, please let us know. Please let us know. At any rate, a little happy music before I stay here right through lunch and have the sillies wondering where the hell is Mitch. I enjoyed it today. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you, all of you who have bought me a coffee and helped out. Always appreciated. It's going to be a busy couple of days, but I will be back here tomorrow morning at 8:30. At 8:30. So I see a question here. Who is that from? Whoa, chat's still going a mile a minute. Well, you're saying goodbye to each other. That's not it. Here it is. Meathead. What is it when you have feelings? Zero feelings when your mother passes. Well, hard to say. Hard to say. Could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe you didn't have that deep a connection. If you did, who's to know? Who's to know? Because something happens doesn't mean it has to happen to everybody. I know it happened to me, and when that happened, I had to explain it. Okay, everybody saying goodbye. Hope you all have a great day. A great day. And let the music play out. Meathead says, thank you, Miss Lori. Thanks, Ellen. Oh, it's Ellen here. I didn't see her. Wow. Oh, wow. Still talking. Still talking. Okay, guys, you go home now. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat. I will.